new tonight, Uber drivers are trying to make some sense of something they recently received from the company. And 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears caught the rideshare giant in an apparent violation of its own policy against drivers picking up children who are alone. Well, tonight, Uber is backpedaling to try and fix what it is calling an unfortunate choice of words.
In talking to drivers,
and this is an everyday thing,
and parents,
it's only if I'm in a pinch.
You might not know that Uber and Lyft have policies requiring riders to be 18 or older to use the app or ride alone.
What's your understanding of the reasons for the policy?
Just child safety.
Mugshots from across the country put a face on the risk parents take putting their children in rideshare cars with strangers. A Denver area Uber driver arrested in November after he allegedly kidnapped and kissed a 15-year-old girl who was trying to get home from work. An Uber driver in Southern California charged with raping a minor teen girl, and a Florida Lyft driver police say confessed to sexually assaulting a 16-year-old boy.
and I won't put my kid with a stranger.
13 Investigates first exposed the problem of underage riders using Uber and Lyft several months ago. A driver who asked not to be identified provided this cell phone video he shot outside Bishop Gorman High School for a ride request that came through Lyft.
Okay, and who's the 18-year-old? And I need to see ID of the 18-year-old.
None of us are. Her parents
Okay, do you guys know, do you guys know unaccompanied minors are not allowed?
He even tells her he already turned her father down when he tried to book through Uber.
I told your dad to come get you guys.
When that story aired in late October, Uber and Lyft sent statements reinforcing their policy against unaccompanied minors using the service, but drivers say it did little to curb the practice.
There's so many children who still to this day will use it to get home from middle school or high school, and I myself avoid driving between like 2 and 3 just to avoid those rides because it's not worth it for me.
And get this, a few weeks after our investigation aired, Uber sent this to drivers.
Kind of a blanket email that basically was saying thank you for everything that you do, even thank you for being there after soccer practice when the parents can't be. And I read that and I kind of scratched my head and just thought, well, wait a minute. Can we or can't we?
Braylon Taylor is a full-time rideshare driver. He was stunned when he saw Uber's email and immediately shared it with me.
It basically just says, we appreciate you when you pick up children.
I asked Uber about it and spent nearly 2 weeks chasing down a response. No one would go on camera, but they did finally send a statement saying the word choice in that email is not in line with our policy and we're dealing with that internally. They later added, our policy has not changed. Only adults can have an Uber rider account. We regret if the language in the recent email caused any confusion. Then,
boom, there it is again.
On December 13th, another notification went out to Uber drivers across the country through the company's blog. Uber said they'd been working on it for a while to clear up any confusion and to clearly articulate their policies to drivers. But the first sentence says many families use the Uber app in their daily lives, specifically for things like getting kids to after-school sports.
It basically tells me when the parents are too busy, I can take their child to after school sports.
so if this was meant to clarify the previous email,
It actually clarified that we can continue taking unaccompanied minors.
The rest of the blog details the policy about an adult needing to be present with a minor, but if there were an adult available to ride with kids to after-school sports, there would be no need for Uber.
even with the statement of the policy here, you feel like it's still so nebulous that it calls the policy into question?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
When I asked Uber about that second email, a spokesman said the intent was to acknowledge that parents do use the service for unaccompanied children, but then to explain the policy against it. He agreed the language could be misinterpreted and said it might change in the future. Darcy Spears, 13 Action News.